What is going on, guys? We're racing here back a brand new video, and today we have our F1 2014 season review for Scuderia Ferrari. Their drivers are Kimi Räikkönen and Fernando Alonso for the F1 2014 season. They scored 216 points and finished in 4th place in the World Constructors' Championship. But anyway, then let's get into a review of their season then. And it's certainly been an awful season for Ferrari, considering their long and very successful past. 2014 is certainly going to be a year to forget for the boys in red. Fernando Alonso definitely doing a majorly understated job in that Ferrari. We've come to expect so much from Fernando, but we really, probably most people have kind of missed what an amazing season it has been for Alonso this year. Let's just put things into perspective. Of course, this Ferrari is probably the 4th or 5th worst car, but Fernando Alonso has really dragged it up into the top 6 in the Drivers' Championship, and of course, they're pretty lucky, basically, to get 4th in the Constructors' Championship. It could really have been worse for Ferrari, but, had it not been for the amazing job that Alonso has done, Kimi Räikkönen has definitely been, more comparable to the kind of Force India McLaren drivers. Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso has really pushed it up that extra notch. It's, really tough to evaluate the season Alonso and Räikkönen have had in a comparison to each other. Of course, we know Fernando Alonso is a major talent, and it's hard to tell, is this Kimi Räikkönen just a really bad year? Has he, not really got to grasps with this new style of car? Or is it, but Alonso was so much better than Räikkönen all along. I think it's probably going to be the first option. Räikkönen definitely been struggling with the new brake-by-wire system, much like Adrian Sutil, who's also been struggling, and those two have certainly gone down in pace this year compared to last year's. But of course, the difference between the Sauber and the Ferrari is, of course, the Ferrari's a lot faster, and the Ferrari should be a lot better to handle. The Ferrari engine's definitely been the worst, I'd definitely say. Definitely goes Mercedes, Renault, Ferrari. Not much power on the straights, been overtaken left, right and centre by Mercedes powered engines, and even Renault engines. Had some good battles with Red Bull throughout the season. They've been up there fighting for podiums, but realistically, you look on paper, they've only actually got 2 podiums, both courtesy of Fernando Alonso's amazing efforts, a 3rd place in China and of course a 2nd place in Hungary. Definitely the driver of the season for Fernando Alonso, and I probably see the S.p.A performance from Kimi Räikkönen to get 4th at Belgium. It was an amazing achievement for Kimi Räikkönen, a track that he loves so much, and that kind of mid-season, kind of up gain in the performance for Kimi Räikkönen was very promising. But then towards the end of the season, kind of after Japan, his season really did tail off. He did pick up some points finishes, but really just not substantial enough. And I believe he did lose out to Kevin Magnussen and maybe a couple of other drivers, or I'm not sure if he did jump them or not. But anyway, it has been a very disappointing season for Räikkönen. Where does the future lie? We'll have to find out. And Fernando Alonso, of course, last year with Ferrari, he's definitely gone out with a bang. Although, of course, looking at his previous years, this isn't going to look as good, but really could have been one of his best years had, of course, he had a better car. Could have definitely challenged for wins, and so nearly, of course, got a win in Hungary. Doing an amazing job, of course, only beaten by Daniel Ricciardo, and managing to fend off both of the Mercedes was a pretty sterling effort from Fernando Alonso. Season definitely started out quite promising for Alonso. 2 4th places in Australia and Malaysia isn't too bad, really, considering how bad that car was. But then things did kind of start to get worse, particularly at Kimi Räikkönen's end. It's kind of slump between Monaco and Germany. In those 5 races, he only managed to score twice, and both of those were a 10th place finish. But like I said, he did get his act together a bit, got 6th for 4th and 9th and 8th, before dipping out the points and mid and low points in Japan for 12th, 9th in Russia, 13th in USA, 7th in Brazil and 10th in Abu Dhabi. But Fernando Alonso scoring in every race but 2. In every race he did finish in the points, which I believe he was the only driver to actually do that. So massive congratulations, and that's an amazing record. Japan and Italy were both retirements, but he couldn't, it was nothing he could do about it. So, Fernando Alonso's done a brilliant job this season. I'm going to have to give him an A, because we're ranking him against the other drivers. We know he's capable of that, but he really has done such an understated job, I believe. Meanwhile, Kimi Räikkönen's been very disappointing. It's got to give him, a C-, one of the worst drivers, definitely, on the grid, just counting this year, of course. Overall, Kimi Räikkönen's usually, a brilliant driver. He showed us some great things at his time at Lotus, at his time, of course, the first stint at Ferrari as well. So we know he's a good driver, back in the day. But sadly, he's probably getting a bit too old for Formula 1. Possibly time to retire for the Kimster. Possibly 2015 being his last year, although I think he does want to carry on. and with Ferrari, but you know, I doubt why do Ferrari really want him for 2015. I'm not really sure. Ferrari always tend to play it safe with driver decisions. They never really take any risks, basically. You know, they've gone with Sebastian Vettel. That's not really a risk. That's been in the pipeline, you know, for ages. So it's really no surprise that, you know, the next year's lineup is Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Räikkönen. Of course, two drivers who had been beaten by their teammates in 2014, both with a point to prove. I think especially Sebastian Vettel could be you know, a new dawn for Ferrari, and Vettel possibly, you know, could replicate the Schumacher era, although I doubt it. You know, don't expect too much from 2015 for Ferrari, although they are pretty confident. I think the best they can hope for is more podiums than, of course, the only 2 podiums they scored this year. Of course, winning twice in 2013. Different circumstances, really. Of course, you know, they managed to understand the tyres. Ferrari, you know, rain, they're just going to be kind of praying for, really. It's basically they're going to be their only chance to really win next year, unless the Ferrari have had a massive improvement, or, you know, Ross Brawn rocks up and James Allison provides a good car. So it's going to be very hard for Ferrari, you know, to do well next year. And I think realistically it could be 2016, 2017, 2018 possibly, before we see them fighting for another championship. Anyway, then, S.p.A Racing, then, just to recap: A for Ferrari, A for Fernando Alonso, C- for Kimi Räikkönen, and I've got to give Ferrari, sadly, a C, because, you know, all these resources, they really should be providing a very good car, but sadly they haven't been able to do that. And, you know, of course, they'll still take home, I think, the biggest share of the prize money, so they're not going to be too upset, but of course, they really do need some good results in the future. But anyway, S.p.A Racing, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.